So I'm going to be teaching a crop science class next semester, and it is a class that I've taught before, but it's not my specific area of expertise. So I pulled up one of the worksheets that I created. Um, I used some of my colleagues' previous worksheets and kind of put them together, but I know it's not an area of real strength of mine. So I've chosen this for ChatGPT, and I used your prompts. I said I feel weak on the topic of plant morphology and know that I need to improve, specifically identifying microscopic images, which is what this worksheet is about. I asked it to act as my tutor, and because I've chosen so many areas for it to discuss, I've asked it to keep outputs to less than 50 words each. This is something I'm familiar with, but I just want to get a little stronger. And then I've also included, can it assess and check my learning throughout the process? So let's see what it says. So ChatGPT gave me really good, concise explanations of each area, but it really didn't tell me how to identify visually what I'm looking for. So I'm going to ask it to do that. So with that simple question of adding the visual identification, it gave me a really nice output. But I want to see now if it can put together the visual identification with the explanations and the questions into almost like a study sheet that I can use to review before I go ahead and give this lecture and give this worksheet. So can you So I've never seen ChatGPT do this before. When I asked it for the study sheet, it separated my chat and its output into a separate or kind of like a dual window, and it gave me this really great study sheet that I can go through. As I reviewed the questions, these questions are easy for me to answer based off of the explanation that it gave. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask it to kind of deepen my understanding. So can you ask me? So I actually went and told it that I'm going to use this for a lecture, um, and that what is it that I should know before I'm trying to lecture about these things to my students. So when I asked it for these deeper understanding, it actually went in and edited the sheet that it already created, and gave me more practical applications of plant morphology, which I think is really good. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to consider how I can use this for maybe an adaptive learning for one of my students who's having trouble in these areas, and I'll be right back. So, in reviewing this worksheet, in thinking about the past experiences I've had with students, I've had a lot of questions about transport functions in plants and how nutrients are transported. So, I'm gonna get in the lens of my student needing a little more of an adaptive learning process, and ask ChatGPT some questions about nutrient transport. So what I ended up doing was actually asking ChatGPT to create a set of adaptive learning questions that a student could ask. And it gave me different basic level, advanced, and application critical thinking levels. And so what I did was I asked it, can you help me, as a student, can you help me explore these basic levels of nutrient transport? And then expand to discuss some critical thinking level questions. I asked it to act as my tutor and ask me questions throughout the learning process to check my comprehension. Let's see what it does. So it gave me great examples and excellent questions, but it gave me them all in just one single output. So I think I need to get better at directing it to give me what I need if I'm going to use this as a tutoring tool for students. So let's see if I can change my question a little bit and get it to engage with the student more. So I think what I needed to do here was actually tell ChatGPT to ask me one question at a time, wait for my response, check my understanding, and then move on to the next question. So let's see if this fixes the issue. Yeah, so this is what I was looking for, something as more of an engaging tutor role with the student. So let me go through this a little bit and I'll start my recording again. So this was a great exercise because I know now how to give my students prompts they can ask ChatGPT to better act as a tutor. It asked me one question at a time. I got some correct. Even I answered one of these questions, I think, a little with a little less detail than I should have, and it went ahead and expanded it for me and gave me some clarifying information. I like that even if I get a question right, it expands on it. And then I went ahead and I reached the end of my availability with the free version. So it's asking me to pay or start a new chat. So, but I think this was a really good exercise that helped me understand how my students could better use this platform.